Kicking off in 3, 2, 1. Hello and well. Cough came out of me right as I started. Oof. Back to what? Hello and welcome to Meet Your Double Feature. My name is Thomas, joined as always by my brother Frank. Frank, how's it going?
Excited to be here.
Excited to be here. Now, Frank, this is a special episode. We're calling this a bonus because normally on our show, we talk about 2 movies at a time, giving each other recommendations for films that neither of us has ever seen, and essentially just seeing which of us can make a better blind movie pick for the other host. But tonight we're doing something totally different. We're talking about a movie we've both seen.
Yeah. Throw me a freaking bonus here. It's Tron.
It's Tron Ares. We've decided to innovate our program by doing the thing everyone else does.
Yeah. It seemed to just make sense, you know?
Seemed to just make sense. This was not originally planned. I didn't know you were going to see Tron Ares. I didn't know I was going to see Tron Ares, but then I did because I got invited. And on the way back, I was like, hey, you seen Tron? And you were like, yeah, I saw Tron. So there you go.
Well, I mean, I would say we're both fans of the previous Tron films, especially Tron Legacy for me. I really like that movie.
Yeah, Tron Legacy is great. I think that this one, people wanted another Tron ever since that one came out, both because that one was decent, ended on a solid cliffhanger, and had awesome music. But then this one I feel like did not have good vibes on the way in, because people were like, why is Jared Leto the star?
Yes.
Mostly just that, actually.
Yeah. No other notes, really. But also, why did it take so long? But
yeah, why did it take so long?
What I heard, unsubstantiated, but this is the information that I've gathered, is he was a producer on a film. That is true. And I think he was the one that was pushing to make this film and produce it and essentially cast himself as the lead. So that's why he's the lead.
Living every little boy's dream of financing and forcing yourself to be the lead of Tron.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a odd situation where it's like a new Tron movie may have otherwise never been made. It reminds me of like when Jason Segel was like super down to make the new Muppets movie.
Yeah.
And so he was the one that got that movie off the ground and made. That seems like a similar push here. I think Jared Leto himself has been trying to get this movie made for a very long time.
Well, that's interesting. I did not know it was such a push from him, but that definitely explains it, because I feel like popular opinion about Jared Leto is down, both because of but also he...
Oh, yeah, for sure. He is. And like, there's other recognizable actors. Actually, sorry, I'm paused. Can we say, is that libel that can we say Jared Leto is like, that, I don't think we're allowed to say that.
I guess I probably shouldn't. That's a good catch. Good catch, legal.
Yeah.
Jared Leto may or may not. Yeah, it's weird to see Jared Leto in this at all, especially as like the only name behind the movie's marketing. It's not like him and a bunch of other people that they're trying to sell the movie on. There's recognizable actors, but he's like clearly the lead, and I don't know that he's ever successfully helmed a movie like that by himself.
No, well, I mean, there was Morbius.
There was Morbius. What would you call Morbius if not a success?
It was a success in a very particular way, in that it became a meme on the internet. So
everything notable about that movie had nothing to do with him. It was just a bad movie that people made some good bits off of.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never even seen it, and I feel like most of the people making fun of it hadn't seen it either.
Yeah, true. But we have seen Tron, so I guess now we can judge fairly whether it was a good idea to let Jared Leto anchor this entire movie. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, there are other recognizable actors in the film as well. I mean, Evan Peters is the main antagonist of the film. And also, I might not have even caught this, but the person that I went to go see the movie with pointed out to me, there was a scene where, I don't know this actor's name, so my apologies for that, but it's the guy who does the mocap for the Star Wars Fallen Order video games.
Oh, the guy who plays, I know the character is named Cal Kestis. I don't remember the actor's name offhand.
Yes, but he had a very minor role in this movie, and I think he just died. Like,
gosh. Oh, also, I'm sorry, I'm bearing the lead. There's not a lot of names in it that you would sell the movie on, but they do have one half of the X-Files team, Dana Scully, in here.
Oh yes,
Gillian Anderson.
yes, yeah,
doing
totally.
a highfalutin accent that makes her sound kind of British.
Yeah, yeah, that was interesting, and she's great. And there wasn't really enough of her in the film.
Yeah. I guess I mean, I don't know if people listening will have already seen the film or not, but essentially, Tron Legacy comes out 2010s, early 2010s. There's an immediate sequel bait at the end of that movie about what happens to those characters. And then Tron Ares, 10 years later, acknowledges that those events transpired, but is about other things.
Yeah, and really kind of had to struggle to work its way around those other plot elements or possibly like fan expectations of seeing those other characters again. Because
and
even
I'm not going to say that. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, even the returning Jeff Bridges is not really the same version of that character that we saw in the previous film.
No, we get a representation inside the machine of the character that Jeff Bridges played in the previous films. And then there's some continuity that carries over because the end of Tron Legacy, spoiler, I guess, involves one of the people from inside the grid making it to like the real world on the outside. And that ends up being like a huge element of the setup for Tron Ares is about how to take digital constructs and essentially manifest them through lasers so that they can be like in the real world.
Just 3D printing stuff, essentially.
3D printing people and Tron bikes, mostly.
Yeah, which I did, I guess, like that ticking clock element in the film that, like, at least for the first half or majority of the film for some of the characters where they could only be in the real world for X amount of time.
Right. That's like your MacGuffin throughout the story, is that technology is emerging both for the company, I'm forgetting the two company names off the top of my head, but essentially the good and the bad guy organizations from all the Tron movies are both trying to figure out a way to make these 3D printed beings permanent and not something that will disintegrate after like 30 or so minutes. And so they're both chasing down this mathematical equation that will allow them to do that. And that is a lot of what drives the conflict throughout the whole story.
Yes, yes, which felt unfortunately similar to the plot element in Tron Legacy where they were trying to, when they were trying to get Olivia Wilde's disc, because it had some, important information that the villains needed in that film. This felt like such a retread of that, like we got to get the thing, which I know it's a common thing just in these types of films, but like for it to be so specifically similar to just the previous Tron film felt like quite the rehash.
It did. I do think that initial premise in Ares, because it's like so focused on, is like explained well enough, and it creates an interesting set of stakes, like you said, because if they spawn somebody on a Tron bike to come chase you down, you could theoretically outlast them rather than have to defeat them. But I do think that the movie suffers right off the bat from the like previous continuity of Tron, because the grid, inside the machine is super cool. That's the main thing people liked about Tron Legacy was all that interesting imagery. But we've established that the world on the outside is not futuristic in any capacity. It's just like normal cities. And so because you have to get outside and spend time there, you're like, wow, there's nothing interesting out here, is there?
I mean, I don't know. I think you can make it interesting. Like,
no, they can, but they have to start from a place of like, Tron exists, but the outside world's very normal outside of the Tron technology so far. We don't have like other world building things to play off of. It has to start from like a very known space.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, because I remember there's a lot of like nighttime cinematography both in Legacy and in this film that I thought did look nice and has kind of visually become a hallmark of the series, I guess. But well, to rewind a little bit, I mean, this is the third Tron movie. I've seen the original Tron maybe once, and did not really care for it. It's just visual style. It was like a little nauseating to me, honestly. Like
it was like a technologically impressive film that had some strong imagery. But yeah, I mean, it's not a movie you'd watch to be entertained. Now it's kind of just the launch pad that gave us the subsequent films.
Totally, and I'm sure there's enough in there that people may be a fan of or latch onto, but I just was never a big fan of it. But it really was Tron Legacy for me that made me a fan of the series. So I was somebody that was excited for a new Tron movie. I think I would have been significantly more excited if it had been following the characters from Legacy and if it had come out maybe like 10 years ago. But
Yeah,
um,
that's what's funny. Like, I understand that a direct sequel to Tron Legacy is just as hard to market as Tron Jared Leto in terms of, like, what's the hook? There's none. There's no obvious, this is what's going to get you in to see the movie, other than, did you like the imagery from Tron, and can we sell you on Nine Inch Nails doing the music?
yeah, so we should talk about the music because that, for all three of the films, has been kind of a distinct selling point or feature of them. I think that like the score of Tron Legacy is amazing. The Daft Punk music in that movie is just like one of the best film soundtracks out there, I think. And so I feel like they knew when they were making this one that they needed that element to the film. And Daft Punk is not together anymore, so they couldn't.
One of them blew up, if you'll recall.
One of them blew up. What do you mean?
The Daft Punk always were like a costume band in the sense that they had the robot outfits they would wear. And when they announced that they were splitting up, they released a music video where one of the robots walks away from the other and explodes, and then the other one keeps going. I don't know if we lost Silver Robot or Gold Robot, but one of them has been compromised.
Wow, that is some sad Daft Punk lore. I didn't know that.
Yep. He's in the grid now.
He's in the grid, yeah. Okay, good for him. So they clearly were like, okay, we gotta, and tapping Nine Inch Nails. I believe it's I almost said Brent Spiner. That's Data.
That's Data from Star Trek. Yeah. Trent Reznor.
Trent Reznor. Yeah, that was a good as any backup choice. But I just felt like the score did not match the visuals. Like very often, it just felt like you were playing music, almost like a music video, or like a YouTube MV, where it was
That's
just
one
like
of my notes.
yeah.
I think my experience watching Tron Ares, because I saw it in theaters, I saw the IMAX screening. If you think of the movie not as a film with a story and characters, but as a series of music videos that have little lulls in between, perfectly good theatrical experience. There was multiple points where I'd be like kind of like nodding off, and then a music would start, and I would just actually be bobbing my head like I was at a concert. So I was like, yeah, I like
Totally.
this. It's more of an industrial electronic sound than what Daft Punk was doing, which is fine. It's trying to suit a different environment. The music's awesome, and I think it's fun to listen to. But yeah, I would agree that it felt like someone was aware the movie was a little boring, and so they were like, just play music. Play score over as much of this film as possible.
Totally. But like, it just felt incongruous. It was like the score of Tron Legacy fits the scene, like it elevates the story being told. Whereas here, it was exactly like you said. It was like drown out what you're seeing with the sound of music.
Yeah, Julie Andrews, the sound of music.
Yes.
No, I said also after I got done watching it that I would watch a version of this that was a silent film. Like you leave in all the sound effects and the music, but just take the dialogue out.
Yeah.
And that's maybe a better movie also.
Yeah, sure. I mean, visually, I didn't hate it either because I kind of see your point there. It's like I like a lot of the visuals of Tron, like specifically Tron Legacy and this one. I did kind of like that, like Tron Legacy felt very blue and this one was very red.
Yeah, they did flip the color balance. Because I think in Tron Legacy, it was like light blue opposite kind of a yellow.
Yeah.
Whereas this was like deep red against like kind of the same blue, but not really. Like they definitely made sure to have a separate color palette, which for this colorful of a movie was a good idea.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's like I see your point that it's like they're coming from this interesting digital world to just the regular world, and then there just wasn't enough of a distinction, maybe?
There wasn't any new storytelling opportunities in the space that they moved into. Like the initial premise benefits from that the Tron people can come outside, but only for 30-ish minutes, and then they kind of fall to pieces, so it creates these interesting like timed objectives and chases. But the actual spaces they're navigating is some of the most like familiar things you ever see on screen. What city are they in for most of it? Is it New York again?
I don't know if they say.
I think it's like a vaguely ambiguous metropolitan area, but
Yeah,
that imagery, you get the contrast of like a Tron bike driving between regular traffic, which works, but a lot of the movie takes place outside of the grid. And so it's like that's your fantasy world is inside the machine. And then you mostly stay outside of it for this one. And it's just, I understand why they did it. It's a good inverse, but it's just not, there's not a lot to benefit from leaving the grid as much as they do.
sure. And like, I don't know what percentage of people are gonna follow this reference, but like,
Can't wait.
it's the concepts of Tron, I think, have been done in similarly in other media as well. I was thinking of like Digimon, for example.
Ah, yes.
Digimon are digital monsters that live in their own digital world. So when they come into the real world in that show, it's jarring because it's like a giant dragon or some other kind of creature that doesn't belong in that space, just visually.
Mm-hmm.
But in this,
Like a Godzilla moment.
exactly, yeah. In this, it's like, well, that's just Jared Leto. That's just a guy. Like,
That's just a guy. I know. That's
like,
kind of what I mean. Like, if the world outside of the grid was also a more fictional space that they had less continuity to adhere to, they could have done more to draw parallels. But as it stands, it's not really that weird, honestly. People do dress like Tron. I've seen it.
absolutely. I mean, even the sequence at the end, it's like, oh, they got these flying spaceships, and then it's like fighter jets fighting them, and it's like, this is not that far outside the realm of reality, I guess. Like,
It's not an escalation of
yeah,
the imagery from the previous film. And if you take Ares less as an actual sequel and more of just another iteration, I guess that's fine. But a lot of people's expectations were Tron Legacy was like a visual ride. It's been 10 plus years. The technology to make these movies is better. What do they have? And it's like less complex imagery than the last one.
yeah, yeah, and just like unfortunate dropped plot lines that the previous film set up too, because like Cillian Murphy had like a sort of interesting like cameo role almost in that film that was supposed to set up, future installments, and then there's so much dialogue has to be dedicated to like dancing around those things that they had set up previously.
Oh, the whole thing is an info dump because Tron Legacy is about like who's going to succeed the heads of these two companies that were at the center of the original story. With, in the case of Legacy, it's like, is Jeff Bridges' character's son going to take on this mantle? And then this one starts, and it's like, yeah, he's gone. These twins took over a while ago. One of them's also gone now. And then the head of the other place is just some other dude. Like, there's no lineage to that. They act like there is, and literally there is, but it's not dramatic. There's no weight to that. It's just like, here's a new set of characters. Also, they're all very, very wooden characters.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
can we talk about Eve? Can we talk about Eve?
can we talk about what's the deal with Eve? Who's Eve?
What's
I
the
don't know
deal
what you're
with
talking
Eve?
about. Which character is that?
That's a great sign. So, Jared Leto is one of the main characters, but I would say the main protagonist at the start of the story is the head of the company that was founded by Kevin Flynn, the original guy from Tron.
Oh, she's Eve.
She's Eve.
Okay,
She's part of a set of twins that like inherited the company. Her twin sister, I believe, was more like, I don't remember. I think she was like the CEO for a time, but then she passed away very young from cancer, I think is the implication. And so Eve, who was working in a different division, became the CEO and became obsessed with finishing her sister's work, which is to find the permanence code, like the mathematical equation that will help them make the transfer from the grid into the real world a permanent thing. Like that's the MacGuffin. She's chasing it down to honor her sister's memory. Beyond that, Eve has no characteristics of any kind. You cannot describe this person and their role in the movie without just saying things they did in the story.
Yeah.
She's not brave. She's not scared. She's not funny. She's not anything.
It's not funny.
It's not funny, okay? There's one thing. But, like, do you know what I mean? I don't think I've ever seen a character in a modern film like this. Like, I've seen a lot of these movies that are made for a global audience where you have characters that can appeal to any crowd, and you even have people that you can feature more heavily. Maybe, like, you'll have a diverse cast, and then you can emphasize certain characters to appeal to their home country market or something. Eve just feels like she's there for nobody. She has nothing to say or do the whole time other than to like move the plot, but with no discernible character to speak of.
Oh yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I feel like that's the problem with kind of all of these Tron movies. Like I like them. I like one of them. and like and like I think conceptually there's interesting ideas in there, but you need the freedom with these films, I think, to get weird with it, to take it down more interesting like sci-fi elements with the story. And like this film is the result of trying to take something that is kind of weird and almost niche and then cram it into this like mainstream appeal. And it just doesn't like, it winds up appealing to no one because it's not that inherently interesting if you're not really expounding on those concepts that make it interesting. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, it's an action movie with a guy with a disc. Like, whatever. We got Captain America over here and all of his buddies. Like,
you have to be able to connect to the character archetype at least. I understand wanting it to be broad so that you can more easily translate it. Like, this movie is built for like a worldwide audience. There's a lot of ADR dialogue spliced in and a lot of opportunities that they created to dub over dialogue so that everybody knows what's happening, no matter what language you're watching the movie in. But some of Eve's dialogue in the English version, which is what it was filmed in, is so flat. Some of her lines in the movie include things like, "What's that?" and "Who are you?" And I know that those are normal things everybody says, but like, that's it. That's all the tone of all of her dialogue is just basic Dora the Explorer conversations of like, where do you think it is? What's that over there?
Well, and it's tough too when she's opposite Jared Leto, who's playing this purposefully like wooden robotic character.
Yes, Jared Leto is supposed to be Pinocchio in this story, but he's acting opposite someone more wooden than Pinocchio. Do the thing.
Got her. No.
Yeah, exactly. Get the sound effects. Like, maybe that actor playing Eve is awesome and gave a great audition. I have no idea. We didn't get to see them even attempt anything resembling a performance.
Sure, yeah. And I mean, to take it back to the script as well, I also was confused as to what Jared Leto's character was supposed to be going through and experiencing. Like, they made the Frankenstein connection, and I was like, okay, yeah, I guess. But it's like they didn't really pick a lane with his character. Like, it's like, was he supposed to be, like, didn't feel like he was gradually becoming more human as things went along. He seemed pretty static, actually, the whole time.
And what development he does get is off-screen, in a way. Like, the setup for him is that he is built at the beginning of the movie as the master control for this evil organization's presence in the grid. They bring him into the real world to, like, conduct missions for them and all this stuff. And he slowly learns to question why he was created, and he has feelings. He's gaining sentience. But some of the more, like, humanizing characteristics don't come from his experience in the story of the movie. Like, there's a bit where he's in the car in the real world with Eve, and he's talking about music, and he puts on, is it Depeche Mode?
Yes.
And he asks her, like, or he just starts talking to her about how much he loves Depeche Mode, and he's trying to, like, put it into words. And then that comes up again towards the end, when the way he proves to Jeff Bridges that he's kind of like a real boy is he acknowledges that he cannot put into words why he likes Depeche Mode so much. He just feels it, which is a story beat that I understand. You know what would have helped is if he heard Depeche Mode on screen and we could see him react to it. But no, that happened. You weren't there. We didn't see it. He just had this experience by himself and decided not to talk about it until later.
Yeah, totally. The film did not show us that.
Why didn't Eve make him listen to Depeche Mode? Like, they had this sort of, like, very sterile relationship angle underneath their interactions that never comes to fruition, which is fine. But why couldn't his experience with her, a real person, give him that human emotion, as opposed to him just being like, no, I was busy browsing files before, and I just like this song.
Yeah. It's exactly like you said. He already did. He already went through that change, if there was one. Like, we didn't get to experience it with him or have it like change over the course of the film.
That just seems like a basic scripting idea. First off, just have him say he likes Nine Inch Nails because you're playing their music the whole time anyway.
And just stare right at the camera. Like
right at the camera, and he's like, "I love 9 Inch Nails." And then he
new
plays the
album
song.
available now.
Yeah. But yeah, I just found that so strange that that's his character. He's coming to life by having experiences. He has a moment early on where he sees the rain fall, and even though he doesn't have like the sensation of touch, he's like, I could almost feel it. And it's like, okay, cool, they showed us that, and then that pays off later with someone else. Why have these other things happen? Why do you think this wasn't interesting enough for us to feature? Given that the things you showed us instead were like hollow action beats with nothing underneath them.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, what you're proposing is such a quick fix to the same scene. The scene could play out the exact same way, and like she could just be the one to be like, "Oh, I like this," and then she puts on the music, and then he like maybe he's interrogating her, like, "Oh, what do you like about it?" or something, just anything. Just
anything. That's what I like. Anytime I try to do the like they shouldn't do X, they should do Y, I try to fit within the framework of what's already there. Because you can't just say, like, well, they should do the whole movie differently. Like, whatever, that's not feasible. But you already had this scene in here at this time. And the scene as it exists communicates a bunch of worthless dialogue where he is trying to lore dump about Eve because we haven't had time to learn about her either. So he just says out loud what her deal is instead of it being a conversation. I don't know. That just feels like an easy thing. Looking at the big picture, we didn't edit the movie. That's hard. But looking at what was there, how can you not just be like, why didn't we just put this here?
Yeah. That whole scene just felt like a AI text summary, which I think was like literally what was happening in the film too. He was just like,
because that's what he is.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I read all your texts. Here's my AI summary of you and your life. Like,
that's really weirdly though. Those are the parts of the movie that have the most character. Like Jared Leto does find a lane for his character is called Ares, by the way. That's where the title comes from.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know, right? Which is weird because the other guy wasn't called Legacy, but I don't get it. His performance reflects like that he has an idea of what this character is going through. The script doesn't support it, but he sort of plays with it in an interesting way where he has like a quirky quality to his humanity. He's not just a nice Pinocchio boy. He is kind of like a rude guy, but he has wants and likes, and that makes him feel human. We just don't get a lot of chances for that to be like the focus of the scenes we're actually watching.
Yeah. It's like you said. You can't just obviously be like, well, why didn't you do this? And then just write a completely different film. But if you take what's already there, I feel like that's what's frustrating when you see it on screen. It's like you had all the tools at your disposal in the story that you have written. It's just you didn't execute them in a way to take the audience along for this ride with you, like in a way that made sense.
Right. And it's like the easiest thing in the world. It's archetypal, like it's full of tropes. Just follow the tropes.
Sure, yeah, and it's like more shocking because it's like I can't even articulate what you did instead. Like what else was the rest of this? Like, I mean, I think there was some fun action sequences. Like I kind of liked near the end, like the climactic battle where he's fighting his friend, and they were doing some, I guess, like little Tron tricks, where they would like leave the light streak in the air and then like they would be like a physical thing.
Right. It's all about like hard light, which they had like Tron choreography, which is good. That's specific.
Yes, but there also wasn't a lot of that. I can only really think of like 2 instances where that was the case outside of like, not counting like I guess the bike chase. And so it's like, I feel like you're not even really like leaning that heavy into what makes this unique. Because I was just kind of going into this thinking like, if you're not like us and you haven't enjoyed either of the previous 2 films, what is going to be appealing to you about this movie that's you're like, oh, is this part of the MCU? Like, I don't, what, like, why?
Is there a post-credit scene with Thor at the end?
Right, exactly. Like,
oh, there is though. There is like a post-credits tease. Did you see that?
I did. It wasn't Thor, but it was.
It was not Thor. I guess we won't say, but there is one if you're curious.
Sure. Yeah. Which again, that just felt like they were trying to capitalize on this other thing, which is funny because it's also Disney. This is the same company putting this film out. So it was just like, I don't know what I went in expecting, which is almost why I wanted to go see it. I was like, you know what? As I've said, I like Tron Legacy. I'm just curious as to what this could even be, this new movie. And so it's like hard to say I was disappointed because I didn't really have any expectations in the first place. But
Yeah.
it was still confusing in a way what actually was done and put on screen with this movie.
It somehow gets through like an hour and 40 minutes. It's not like a crazy long movie without almost anything happening or changing. I mean, I'll give it credit for not ending on some sort of massive battle between two giant armies of Tron people. Like, it was a fairly small climax in terms of how many people were involved. But it's just the way we got there. I was like, nothing's happened. We've gone in and out of Tron a couple times. We've changed the dramatic stakes a couple times. Because at first it's like, who's going to get the code? But then Eve gets dragged into Tron world, and she eventually becomes the MacGuffin instead. Because they're like, well, we can't get the code like we were going to, so we need to just get you and like steal it out of your brain. And that's kind of it. That gets you through the rest of the way. It's just like two chases. I don't know where else to put this, but I have a couple notes about the technology here.
Sure.
There's a scene near the middle where Evan Peters' character, the like evil CEO guy, who's just like the young, brash, move fast and break things kind of guy who's messing everything up, he's trying to hack into the files at the other company, like to find information about Eve because he wants to know where she is. This is represented by him typing on a computer and just doing movie hacking stuff, but then is literalized in the grid as like a siege from these like 5 or 6 red Tron guys trying to break into this physical place to like steal the files out of the network, which is very Tron, but the amount of time it takes makes the whole thing really funny to me. Like, can you imagine if you were at work and you clicked to open a PDF, several minutes pass, and not only do you not get the PDF, but you learn that several men have died.
Several digital men have died along the way.
Several digital men are deleted, and you don't even have the thing. It's just like, that requires an immediacy that I'm just picturing the lived experience of these people being like, all right, I'm trying to open this email invite, but my Tron Mega Man guy has to go fetch it from like a physical mountaintop, so I guess I'll get back to you in an hour.
I'm glad you mentioned Mega Man really quickly because, like, as much as I like the concepts of Tron, I think for anyone who's familiar, it's just a not as good version of the Mega Man Battle Network series of video games in terms of the like lore and visuals and everything that it establishes. It's so almost 1-to-1, but those are better. So, but I still
100%.
like it for what it is, but yeah.
My other what the heck are you doing note, and this is more just a complaint about how a lot of modern big blockbusters are made. It's kind of the whole second screen experience idea. People are convinced that most folks watch movies while looking at their phone, and so their solution is to constantly restate information because they're worried that they've lost people, which I've never quite understood, because you're admitting that you think people put the movie on and are just letting it go, which means you don't need to hold their attention. They've already decided they just want noise. So I don't know why we need to cater to these people instead of the people watching. I'll assume there's data to support this. But there's a scene about midway through, the motorcycle chase, where they send 2 Tron people, including Jared Leto, to chase down Eve, who's riding like a normal motorcycle. And the scene plays out for like 4 or 5 minutes. At this point in the movie, she has the permanence code on a thumb drive. It's the MacGuffin, they have to pursue her, they have to get it. The scene goes on for a few minutes, and at some point in the middle, Eve just stops, really slowly unzips her jacket. We get this really loud Foley noise of like a leather jacket being unzipped. She takes the thumb drive out of her pocket, stares at it. We get a shot of the thumb drive. She puts it back in her pocket, and she zips the code up again, and then carries on with the scene. I was like, what on earth was that? Did you think that in the midst of a very simple motorcycle chase, I just forgot what the movie's about completely? Was somebody in a test audience like, why are they trying to get her again? Like, we just told you about the thumb drive. And they're like, I guess we got to show it again.
But why male models?
Why male models? Yeah.
Just takes one person in a test screening to say that, though. And they're like, well, we got to put it in. This guy didn't get it. Steve did not understand.
Steve did not understand. Big, stupid Steve. The other thing to me is that there's a more elegant solution already, because Eve doesn't have any dialogue during any of this. She literally has lines during that action scene that are just like, whoa. Like, she just says like nothing. She can't do like the Iron Man thing of like snapping jokes because she has no one to talk to. All I think you need to do is place a character in this scene who can talk to her via like a headset. That's basically just Tyrese Gibson's character from Fast and Furious. You know?
Or literally Tyrese.
We need a loud, dumb guy to communicate this information through like silly, dumb questions. Because then at least things keep moving and we don't have to stop for her to just hold it up to the camera like we forgot, like we're a dog who needs to be reminded. Like, if this whole sequence was like Roman from Fast and Furious on headset, who was like, so you're telling me they're after some kind of pinky drive? And they're like, no, thumb drive, Roman. And he's like, a what drive? And that's like 5 minutes of dialogue. Then at least the scene's moving.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it would have been kind of cool, and this would have been aping off of the Mega Man Battle Network games a little bit, but it's like, what if like you had like a person, like what if you could communicate with somebody in the Avatar world? Like Evan Peters' character was doing it. He was like talking to Jared Leto's character. Like, what if she had like sort of a, I don't know, she lives in the same technological space as them. Why does she not have like a little Tron buddy too? There was no Tron in this movie, by the way. Like, Tron was an actual character in the previous two films. That was just another like loose thread plot that was at the end of the second movie, that it was like Tron had been like turned into a bad guy, but then he fights for the users, and then they turned him back into a good guy at the end of that movie, and then he like maybe died.
There is no fight for the users. I mean, the arc of the movie, predictably, is that Jared Leto starts out as the avatar for the evil corporation. He discovers his, he becomes sentient and then ends up helping the good guys to the point where, believe it or not, he turns from a red Tron to a blue Tron. I know maybe that's a twist reveal I shouldn't have said, but there's no punctuation to that. Like you said, he doesn't get to say I fight for the users. He doesn't get to say anything. By the time the movie's over, he doesn't even really know what he's up to. He's just like, I guess I'm going to go to the Middle East or something. Where is he at the end?
He's like, there's a lot of problems over there. I was a little confused. Like, I thought it was interesting. I don't remember this character's name, but his friend turned enemy, other red Tron woman.
Athena.
Athena, thank you. She was like, look at you, you're so dumb. Why did you turn into a blue Tron? But like, what did she want? I was like, she wanted the code too, but she was like already rebelling against Evan Peters at that point. So I'm like, do you want it for yourself? Do you want it to bring it back to him? And you've just kind of like, it was just a weird, like, I just lost track of her motivation at that point.
Because it was very unclear.
Because it was unclear. And I was confused about like, I mean, I guess this is spoilers, but whatever. When Jared Leto turned into a real boy and a Bluetron, and then he was back in the real world, he was still like immortal, I guess, or like had super strength or something, because like, he was getting like blasted into cars and stuff, and I was like, okay, so he's not like a flesh and bone human. He's just, I
think he's
like,
still superhuman. I think he is still made of like lasers, essentially.
Yeah.
But he is a sentient pile of lasers.
Yeah. Well, all right. That's cool, I guess. And then, yeah, like he wanted to find Olivia Wilde's character because she was also a pile of lasers, and they could like high five over that. Like, I just, like.
She had a permanence code, I guess. She just spawned regular like 10 years ago.
No, that's why they're not in it. 30 minutes after they left at the end of Tron 2, she just disintegrated, and they're like, oops.
As the post-credit scene is they're just collapsing and screaming, and he's like, oh gosh, I should have left you in there, I guess.
That didn't work. Dad, like,
Dad, I need you to pick me up.
It's like, you're on the bike, but
Dad, pick me up.
Just didn't make sense. There's just stuff that did not make sense, and
what? Also, can I say, Jared Leto does not have a lot to work with. I think he's giving the most performance in the movie, and thus the best performance because he has one. Mm-hmm. But for someone whose whole thing is mostly visual, he doesn't even have a lot of dialogue at points. He didn't seem to know how he was supposed to walk. Does that make sense? Like, you know how like as an actor you make a lot of choices. You're like, well, how would this character carry themselves? Like Christian Bale one time like slipped a disc in his back because he was playing a character who he just decided would not have good posture and would always be hunched over. So he just did. In every scene, he was like a little hunched and legitimately like lost an inch of height in real life because he overcommitted. Or like
Yeah.
the T-1000 in Terminator 2, like walks like a robot, like it's very stiff and robotic. Jared Leto seemed to just not know what his legs were doing. In any of these scenes, there's multiple shots of him walking around where he's not playing it like he's big and imposing. He's not increasingly walking with like a more human gait. He just kind of moseys around like he's uncomfortable in the suit the whole time.
Probably because he actually was like just uncomfortable in that
Probably.
suit. Like, but that's what I mean. It's like they didn't. It's like the people writing the film didn't know the answers to these questions, so it comes off that way on screen. It's just like somebody needs to have a better someone somewhere in this process needs to have a better understanding of what is happening and what is supposed to be happening, so that it can
Yeah,
be communicated that way.
like in a lot of those superhero movies, they have the benefit of relying on decades of comic book stories that they can just cherry pick from and have people kind of summarize into film scripts, which both satisfy the rabid core audience who just wants to see things repeated that they're familiar with, and gives you a story that already had a beginning and an ending and has been evaluated. You can be like, oh, people liked it. Like we're going to take
Yeah.
the critically acclaimed Secret Wars storyline and put it in the Avengers movies. I'm sure there's a ton of Tron media in comics and novels. Why not just ape something from that?
Maybe they did. I haven't seen the
Maybe
rest
they
of that
did.
other media, so I know there was a Tron like animated series. So maybe the narrative of that ties into this movie somehow. I really doubt it, but like, yeah, you're exactly right. There's more they could have done to keep this cohesive, because like it felt like rules were being made up as they went along, and rules that did not line up with either of the previous films. And it's like there's such a small subsection of people that even are going to care about that part, but like this movie at least needs to make sense. The rules you've set up in just this movie need to be followed through on.
Yeah, like you didn't need to hold to the lore of the original in the first place. Why not just soft reboot? Why not just do the same story again?
Yeah, especially because there were so many things they had to avoid.
Yeah, they had to dance around a whole movie's worth of stuff. Why not just forget about it? No one, like the people who are going to care about that probably still aren't happy because you're not talking about those characters anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like I was just
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a weird thing because, like I said, I didn't really have like high expectations. I was just had a curiosity about this film, and I was still perplexed by what it was and how it was executed. I didn't hate it overall. There were some, like, if you cherry pick elements out of it, like you'd be like, hey, the music was good. Didn't fit the scene at all, but good music. Like, and just didn't do enough with this unique setting. Like you had that's what I think was the biggest like just missed opportunity if you're going to make this movie at all. You have something that is different than other comparable superhero action movies, but you didn't do enough to use that to its full extent in an interesting way.
Yeah, I think there's so much opportunity to tackle the ways in which this friction happens from putting Tron World into real world and just coming up with like interesting variations on it. Like, how come I think there's like one instance in the whole movie of a Tron person killing a human person. And the way it plays is that there are little Tron discs, which in the grid will just shatter you into the cubes, just are like a blade. Why not just make that some sort of like weird thing where like it causes a human body to just like break into data in some like creepy kind of way? Just like some bizarre imagery of like putting these two things together as opposed to just doing the most like simple literal version of it.
Well, that was a point I was trying to get to earlier, I think, is just like this property, you need to get weird with it. And
Yeah.
they're never going to do that. They're never, because I mean, they might as well have, because the movie bombed anyway, to my understanding, and as I think all of them have.
Yeah, which is the real legacy of Tron.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but if it's a passion project, if you're that invested in this, just get weird with it. Do interesting things, do atypical things, because otherwise you're just making like a less good version of things that already exist and has no appeal, and no one's going to go see it.
Yeah, which they did not.
which they didn't. Yeah, so it's like, I always advocate for this, but get weird with it. Just make
Get weird.
like interesting choices. Like, what if you made a Tron movie that wasn't even inherently an action movie? You know, like make it a horror movie or something. So it's, you know, like a psychological type of film, but you have all those kind of elements in there still.
Make it a legal drama. Your Honor, we cannot charge this collection of ones and zeros for these crimes, for he does not have a soul.
Thank you, Foghorn Leghorn.
We spawned him right after Tron. It was an opinion poll.
Do that. Do Looney Tunes X Tron. Like, give me something like.
Do a Tron sports movie. I want to see
a Tron sports movie.
This can be entirely in the grid, but do a Tron ball, like uplifting sports drama.
Yeah, anything. Just like
anything. Do something.
Do something.
Because what we have is a weird collection of like half-baked ideas and the tireless efforts of 6,000 animators to bring it to life.
Gosh, yeah. It looked good. It visually, like, I think had strong visual effects. Not as, I don't know, groundbreaking maybe as some of the visual effects were in the previous Tron films. But, you know, it was like, it had all the tools, like we said earlier. It had all the tools to do something more interesting than what they did.
So obviously, and like we were saying, these pitches to make it a whole different movie, they were never going to do that. But like optimally, that would give it the most appeal. And if you're going to do the boring version, at least do the like A+ boring version. You know, there's been a lot of movies that did not take any chances, but at least like did their homework and like made the script work.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. They have that little post-credit scene, and it's like, will this actor return for another one? Will Tron the movie franchise ever return? Was this the last one? Like, well, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I guess we're on track for 10 to 20 years from now. We get yet another unrelated Tron that casually skirts around whatever happened to Jared Leto. And that's it.
Oh, I thought you meant in real life.
Oh. Yeah. Actor Jared Leto flops as the lead of Tron Ares.
Yeah, his character. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, any closing thoughts, or does that kind of do it?
No, I feel like I honestly like ran out of momentum with Tron. Like,
yeah.
Just like watching the film and then talking back about it, I'm just like, gosh, there's just like, I feel like my biggest takeaway is just that it could have been more. It wasn't offensively bad, but it was just offensively like not adventurous enough or interesting enough to be something that lives up to that IP, I guess, because you know, there's the previous films are, as I mentioned before, like cult classics in a way to some people, and I don't know if this one's gonna fall into that same category.
I can't imagine. Not for those same people, at least. I mean, Tron Legacy is not a fantastic film top to bottom either, but it has like a baseline level of adventurous spirit behind it. And if you make a sequel this much later that's this like sleepy and just, you know, not even remotely compelling in ways that were so avoidable that I don't know. I got nothing. I'm in the same boat. I've just run out of steam talking about Tron. I'm going to fall asleep in the middle of this.
Yeah, that's good. Well,
anyway.
The end.
Well, again, this was a bonus episode for us. For listeners of our regular Meet Your Double Feature program, let us know if you want to hear Frank and I talk about new releases in the future. If you want us to just stick to the older movies, you know, let us know your thoughts. Follow us on our socials, which will be in the episode description, or just go to our website, meetyourdoublefeature.com, spelled in full, just like the name of the show. And yeah, we'll catch you later. Thank you for listening.